Nobody plans to become addicted to something. That's the part people on the outside never understand. They look at someone struggling with addiction and think, just stop, just put it down, just choose differently. As if the person hasn't thought of that. As if the person isn't screaming that exact thing at themselves every single day. Addiction isn't a choice problem. It isn't a willpower problem. It isn't a character flaw. It's a brain wiring problem. And it works on the exact same reward system that helps you learn, survive, and function as a human being. The machinery that gets hijacked by addiction is the same machinery that makes you eat when you're hungry, connect with people you love, and feel satisfaction when you accomplish something. Addiction doesn't create a new system in your brain. It corrupts one that was already there. I think addiction is one of the most misunderstood topics in human health, and the misunderstanding causes real damage because it leads to shame instead of treatment, punishment instead of help, and isolation instead of support. If you're the person who never gets it until someone gives you the right analogy, this channel is for you. Subscribe. Let me start with the system that addiction corrupts, because you can't understand the disease without understanding the healthy version first. Deep in your brain, there's a reward circuit. Its job is simple. When you do something that's good for your survival, the circuit releases a chemical called dopamine, which makes you feel good. Eat food, dopamine. Drink water when you're thirsty, dopamine. Connect with another human being, dopamine. Accomplish a goal, dopamine. The good feeling is your brain's way of bookmarking the behavior and saying, do that again. Think of dopamine like a gold star on a chart. Every time you do something your brain considers beneficial, it sticks a gold star next to that behavior. Over time, the behaviors with the most gold stars become habits, preferences, cravings. You don't consciously decide to enjoy the taste of your favorite food. Your brain gave that food so many gold stars over the years that now you crave it without thinking. This system is ancient, and it works beautifully for natural rewards. The gold stars are proportional to the survival value. Food gets a few stars. Water, when you're dehydrated, gets a few more. Social bonding gets some. The system stays balanced because natural rewards produce modest, appropriate amounts of dopamine. Addictive substances and behaviors blow up this system. When someone takes a drug like cocaine, the brain doesn't release a few gold stars. It dumps the entire jar onto the chart. A single use can flood the reward circuit with 5 to 10 times more dopamine than any natural reward ever could. The brain has never experienced anything like it. And in that moment, the reward circuit does exactly what it was designed to do. It bookmarks the behavior with the highest priority it's ever assigned to anything. Think of it like a restaurant review system, where most meals get rated 3 to 7 out of 10. Natural rewards live in that range. Then suddenly a meal comes along that the system rates 47 out of 10. The system wasn't built for that number. It doesn't have a category for it. But it logs it anyway, and from that point forward, every other meal looks pathetic by comparison. This is why addiction isn't about enjoying the substance. People in deep addiction often don't even enjoy it anymore. The dopamine system isn't about pleasure, it's about priority. It tells the brain what matters most, and once something has been rated 47 out of 10, the brain rearranges its entire priority list around getting it again. Food drops down the list, relationships drop, work drops, self-care drops. The brain has been told, by its own circuitry, that nothing matters as much as this one thing. And then comes the part that turns a bad experience into a trap: tolerance. When the brain gets flooded with dopamine repeatedly, it protects itself by turning down the volume. It removes some of the receptors that detect dopamine, so the same flood doesn't hit as hard. This is your brain's version of putting on earplugs at a loud concert. Smart in theory, devastating in practice. Because now the person needs more of the substance just to feel what they felt before. The first time was a 47, the second time, with fewer receptors, it's a 30. Still way above normal, but not the same. So they use more. The brain turns the volume down further. They use more. The volume drops again. Think of tolerance like a thermostat that keeps raising the temperature it considers comfortable. The first winter, 68 degrees feels warm. After a few months of blasting the heat at 80, 68 feels freezing. You haven't changed. The thermostat's definition of normal has shifted. And resetting it back to 68 doesn't feel like going back to normal. It feels like going below normal. It feels like suffering. This is the cruelest part of addiction. The same process that turns down the volume for the substance also turns down the volume for everything else. With fewer dopamine receptors, the person can't feel normal pleasure from normal things. Food tastes bland. Music doesn't move them. Time with friends feels empty. The only thing that pushes through the dampened system is the substance, and even that doesn't work like it used to. They're not chasing a high anymore, they're chasing normal. They're using just to feel something close to what everyone else feels on a Tuesday afternoon for free. Quick favor before the next part. If this has been useful, hit the like button. It helps this video reach other people who need to understand this, either for themselves or for someone they care about. Back to it. Now let me talk about why quitting is so much harder than people think. Because it's not just about stopping. When a person who's developed addiction tries to quit, their brain revolts. The system that was artificially propped up by the substance suddenly has nothing. Dopamine levels crash below normal. The already reduced receptors are receiving almost no signal. The brain interprets this as an emergency. Think of withdrawal like the power going out in a building that was running every appliance at full blast. The sudden drop isn't just an inconvenience, it's a system shock. Alarms go off, backup systems fail. The building was so dependent on that constant power supply that it can't function without it, at least not immediately. Physical withdrawal, the sweating, the shaking, the nausea, that's the building's alarm system going haywire. But the physical part actually ends within days or weeks, depending on the substance. The part that makes people relapse months or years later is psychological. The brain's priority list still has the substance at the top. The neural pathways built by thousands of repetitions are still there, like trails worn into the ground. Overgrown, maybe, but never fully gone. This is why a recovering alcoholic can be sober for 5 years and walk past a bar on a bad day and feel a craving so intense it takes their breath away. The trail is still there. The brain still remembers the shortcut to feeling okay, even if that shortcut stopped working long ago. There's one more piece that most people never hear about, and it's the part that finally made addiction click for me, as something that can happen to anyone, and not just people with addictive personalities. Addiction almost never starts with the substance. It starts with pain. Think of addiction like a painkiller that founds an open wound. The wound can be anything: trauma, loneliness, anxiety, depression, grief, chronic stress, physical pain that won't stop. The person isn't looking for a high, they're looking for relief. The substance or behavior provides that relief faster and more completely than anything else they've tried, and the brain does what it's designed to do. It bookmarks the solution. The reason certain people become addicted, while others use the same substance without issue, often has less to do with the substance and more to do with the size of the wound. Someone with strong social connections, stable mental health, and manageable stress has a smaller wound. The substance feels nice, but it's not solving a desperate problem. Someone drowning in untreated trauma or unmedicated depression has a wound so large that the relief the substance provides feels like oxygen. Of course the brain prioritizes it. It thinks it just found survival. This is why treating addiction without addressing the underlying pain almost always fails. You can take away the painkiller, but if the wound is still open, the person will find another one. Different substance, different behavior, same pattern. Let me stack all of this together so it locks in. Your brain has a reward circuit that gives gold stars to survival behaviors. Addictive substances dump the entire jar at once, logging a rating the system was never built to handle. The brain rearranges its entire priority list around that rating. Tolerance is the thermostat shifting its definition of normal higher and higher, forcing the person to use more just to reach baseline. With reduced receptors, normal pleasures go flat, and the person stops chasing a high and starts chasing normal. Quitting triggers a system shock, like the power going out in an overloaded building. The neural trails stay carved long after the substance is gone, which is why cravings ambush people years into recovery. And most of the time, the addiction started as a painkiller that found an open wound nobody was treating. That's addiction. Not a moral failure, not a lack of discipline, a reward system doing exactly what it was designed to do, just with inputs it was never designed to handle, often in a brain that was already in pain. If this helped you understand addiction in a way nothing else has, do me 2 quick favors. Hit the like button and subscribe so you catch the next one. I'm deciding between 2 topics for the next video, and I want you to pick. Should I explain how antidepressants actually work using a thermostat analogy, or how anxiety works using a smoke detector analogy? Drop A or B in the comments, and whichever gets more votes, I'll make first. Thanks for watching.